Hi guys, I have a very interesting topic to discuss with you today, which is how to make friends as an adult, how to make friends in your 20s. I'm gonna share all of my secrets. I'm gonna share all of the tips and tricks that I've used in my life. And honestly, I feel like you could apply these at any age, anywhere in the world that you are. I just feel like specifically how to make friends as an adult. Like we emphasize that adult part so much, and it really feels like there's a big limiting belief around that for many people. And let's dispel that. Let's talk about it today. I started talking about it on my Instagram stories and it had a big resonance. So I'm sure it's gonna help many people. And if you don't follow me on Instagram yet, what are you doing? Like, go follow me on Instagram because there's a lot of interesting stuff there. A little bit of context before we dive in on where I get my knowledge from and what's my expertise. If you're new to this channel, I am 25 years old. I come from Moscow, Russia originally, but for most of my conscious life, I lived abroad. First when I was 15 years old and I lived in Arizona, USA. That's where my accent and a lot of my personality comes from. So I had my classic new student comes into the high school cafeteria, doesn't know where to sit down, social anxiety types of moments. And I went through that and I got to make wonderful friends by the end of the year. But also when I was older, I went to a university program called Minerva. And from the ages of 18 to 22, 23, I lived in many countries around the world. And every single time I moved, which I realized throughout my life, I moved more than 10 times. Every single time my social capital went to zero, like my local social capital. Imagine you land in Seoul, Korea, and you don't know one person there, and you have to make it your home for the next semester. How are you gonna approach it? How are you gonna make new friends, especially when there's a language barrier, when there's a cultural difference, when nobody really needs you because people have their own busy, interesting lives, and you're just like, knocking from the outside. Hello. So I've gone through that many times in many cultural contexts, which is why I feel like all these tips that I'm gonna share, they will be useful anywhere in the world that you are at any age. And I cannot wait to hear from you when you start implementing this. So let's start with the first piece of advice, which is delete the idea that it's hard to make friends as an adult. Delete it. Erase it from your mind. I should also probably mention that I studied cognitive science when I was at university, and a lot of these mindset shifts and reprogramming that I do for myself, I took what I learned in my classes in my education and I just applied it on myself and it really worked. So now I'm just like passing that along. So whatever we believe is true becomes true for us. Our brains are so good at finding evidence and confirmation for whatever belief we might choose. And the thing is that 99% of our beliefs, we didn't choose them. They were just installed into us unconsciously by our family, our teachers, our peers, our culture, society. And so you grow up with this pack of beliefs in your head, but you didn't choose them intentionally. They were just kind of passed on to you. And now as an adult, or as a teenager, honestly, you can start rewiring those patterns, those beliefs, if they don't sit true with you. So for instance, it's hard to make friends as an adult. I've heard that phrase so many times. There are probably books written about it. People just say it and reiterate. What do birds do? Regurgitate?
Regurgitate.
We
Regurgitate
that phrase so many times until it becomes like the absolute truth in our brains, but I promise you it's not. It can be true for you, but it doesn't mean that it's true for everyone. It's not true for me. And you can also choose to believe something else. That idea that it was just so hard to make friends, like it's just so hard to make friends when you move to a new city. It's so hard to make friends as an adult. It's so hard to find like the right people for me. That is boring, it's uncreative, and it doesn't create any space, doesn't create an opportunity for something else. Like it's not changing anything. Like, okay, it's hard. What are you gonna do about it? What if I told you that it is easy to make friends as an adult? It is easier to make friends when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s. What if I propose that? You will start finding evidence for why that is true. And I can offer some evidence for you already. It's easier to make friends when you're older because you know yourself better than any time before that. You know who you are to an extent, you know your boundaries, you know what you like and what you dislike, what behavior you accept, what behavior you don't tolerate. So it's actually easier because you have these filtration systems for people now. Secondly, you don't try to fit in anymore. You know, when you're a teenager and acceptance and like fitting into a group feels necessary for survival, like it's not that anymore. There's an abundance of people in the world, that dire need that many of us might have felt when we were younger, that we have to fit in, and what if we say what we like and people are gonna reject us? That probably doesn't exist anymore, so it's easier to make friends right now. You have more freedom to do what you want to do and to be with the people you want to be with. You're no longer stuck with the same group of people at school, at high school, at university, maybe in your dorm. Some of us are very lucky that we're just magically placed in an environment and in a group of people with whom we feel so good and comfortable, and it's just the perfect fit. I've had that happen to me multiple times in my life. Like, the closest friends I have now, and I'm sure I'm gonna have for the rest of my life, are the people I met in middle school or even elementary school. So that's very lucky. However, I've also had periods in my life when I was stuck in an environment with people whom I just didn't see eye to eye with. Like, we don't get each other, it's really hard, I don't fit in. But when you're an adult, you no longer have to stick through it. You have the autonomy to choose. For instance, right now I'm taking a German course. I have a group of people I study with, and it's a different group every single month. If I don't like the teacher, or if I don't like the people in my group, guess what I can do? I'm paying for it. I can just set up a meeting with the school at which I'm studying, and I can ask them to transfer me to another group. I can cancel the course if I'm not enjoying it. Like, I get to choose the people with whom I'm spending my time. Isn't that amazing? It makes it easier to make friends as an adult because you choose the people you surround yourself with. Like, they're not family. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot choose our family, you cannot choose your parents, you cannot really choose what children you're gonna have, right? You just make a baby, and whatever that baby is, that's your baby. But with partners, with friends, with colleagues, you have autonomy. You have free will there. Makes it easier. Another reason why making friends as an adult is easier is because you also have more financial freedom to do what you want to do, with whom you want to do it. And lastly, again, this is not an extensive list. Sorry guys, I just realized that my microphone was not on. Aha! Where was I? This is not an extensive list of reasons why it's easier to make friends as an adult or in your 20s. I'm just giving you examples of why it can be true, and you can start practicing that yourself. Tell your brain it is easy for me to make friends, and notice your brain start finding evidence that is true. Repeating that until that becomes your truth, and that in turn reflects in the outer world, in your experiences, because you'll just carry yourself differently and you will feel more at ease. You just feel more relaxed, and that's when everything comes through. The last thing I wanted to bring up on this specific topic is probably, especially if you're watching this video, when you are older, when you're an adult, you probably have done some healing. You've probably worked on your triggers. Maybe you've already been in therapy if that's what you felt like you needed. So it will be easier for you to make friends. Hopefully your communication is much better than it used to be. I'm speaking from my own experience. I've read so many books. I've been in therapy. I've done work with a coach. I have just done so much work on myself, and that work never really ends like that. You know, becoming the best version of myself, the most authentic version of myself. And that usually requires a lot of work on your mindset, on any traumas. So when you're an adult, you probably have already done so much inner work that now it's just easier to create friendships and meaningful relationships. You're probably more emotionally mature. Your communication hopefully is clear and open. Maybe you've done some healing around attachment if you don't have a secure attachment style, and you've, addressed your anxious or avoidant attachment style, so that when you start talking to a person, you're not going to feel worried or anxious about that. And if you don't relate to what I'm sharing, then this is a perfect sign to actually do some work on yourself, just because it will feel good, and friendships and all the other stuff is just going to be a byproduct of inner work. But that's already kind of what you're doing by watching this video. So let's keep it going. The second piece of advice I have for making friends when you're already in your 20s or you're an adult is to go to events and activities alone. Don't invite anyone. Don't cancel anything if nobody can come with you. Don't pity yourself if there's no one to go with or if there's no one to invite. Just find what you want to do and go alone. I know that it can be really scary if you're not used to it. I used to have social anxiety. I used to feel very insecure. But sometimes you just got to do things scared. You can prepare yourself for when you go to events alone. Like, you can meditate before you leave the house. You can wear something that you feel confident in and comfortable in. You can do a breathing practice before you go. Even if you're at a place, like if you're at a party or a dance class or a concert and you begin to feel self-conscious and maybe anxious, my favorite coping mechanism, my favorite way to switch up the energy, it used to be looking at the ceiling. Like, in any room I'd be in, no matter how many people were around me, if I could just look at a ceiling, it would literally give me a new perspective, and I would just breathe, and that would really calm me down. But I haven't been doing that for a while. Another thing is to just go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom, wash your hands. Physically, you're putting yourself in a different space, but also mentally, it's gonna switch up your energy a little bit. Wash your hands and then look in the mirror and tell yourself it's gonna be exactly how you want it to be. It's gonna be exactly how you want it to be. That practice, it literally takes 2 minutes max. And it reminds me that I have power in the situation. I have things under my control. It's gonna be the way I want it to be. I am the universe experiencing itself through itself. I'm part of the collective consciousness. I am a deliberate creator of my life. It's gonna be how I want it to be, and if I don't like it, I can just leave and do something much better. I'm gonna have a good time. So these are some things you can do when you go somewhere alone and you feel a little bit anxious. This is what I used to do for a while until it just became my norm. You can always do some breath work. Box breathing is amazing. It's when you breathe in on the count of 4, hold your breath for a count of 4, breathe out for the count of 4, and then hold your breath for another 4 counts. That's called box breathing. I've read that this is one of the breathing techniques that Navy SEALs use, which shows that it works for sure. So just do box breathing. Remember box breathing and take yourself out alone. Can be scary at first. It's gonna become a norm. You will start feeling comfortable after a few times. I have so many examples of making friends when I was just alone. The space next to you is not occupied by a friend or a partner. It's empty. And if you make yourself energetically available, it will be taken up by a person who's gonna match your vibe. For example, last year, I went to a Tantra practice at this women's center, and Tantra is very intense. In the practice, we were paired up, and we had to do like primal dances, you know, just let our body move any way that it wants to move. Stand with our backs next to each other. We had to like guide each other blindfolded. Like, it was really sensual and it was really intense. And after the practice, one of the girls who was also there alone, and we were paired up together because I came alone, I was paired up with someone instead of going in there with my friend. Anyways, so we just talked and it just felt like such a good vibe, and we followed each other on Instagram. We stayed in touch for a few months. I was replying to her stories, she was replying to my stories, and then we just ended up meeting up for coffee in the summer, talked about so many things for hours. Apparently she's an entrepreneur, she studied at this amazing university, and I talked about my story, and it was just such a perfect match. And so we just stayed in touch and we just kept hanging out. And I was recently at her birthday party, at which I met so many amazing, beautiful, accomplished women through my new friend. That was beautiful. That was such a beautiful day. There was a rainbow. Oh, she was also a Gemini and I'm a Sagittarius, so that kind of helps too. When you go to places or events alone, it's a win-win-win situation. Win-win-win-win-win-win. Because number one, you're doing something that you really want to do. Maybe it's a pottery class. Maybe it's a dance class, a dance course. Maybe it's a music festival or a music concert. Maybe it's a tantra practice or a gong meditation. Whatever you're interested in, go and do it. That is so attractive too. Like, people who just go after what they want, who just do whatever they want, like, those are the people who love themselves, and it's just so attractive. Like, we want to be around people like that. But it takes practice. If you're not used to it, it will take practice to get there, but how awesome. You want something, you just go after it, and you don't let these conditions, you know, I have to be with a person, you don't let that stop you. Or a restaurant. Oh my god, if there's a new restaurant that opened and you really want to check it out, or if there's a new bar, go alone, get yourself a nice whiskey sour and enjoy it. Number 2 is that you might actually meet people who are interested in the same things as you, who are attracted to the same things. Same friend I met at Tantra, it happened to be logically that we're both interested in spirituality and we're both interested in womanhood and like feminine energy and how to cultivate that and how to still be a badass entrepreneur. We're matched in our energy and our interests, so it makes sense that we would meet at an event that we're both interested in. Another thing I did, I used to study ASL, the American Sign Language, and I would go to meetups so I could meet people who also signed ASL. I went in San Francisco, there was just one meetup, there was a bunch of people there. Didn't lead to anything after that, but it was so fun to get out of my comfort zone and try it out. So if you want to make friends, put yourself in contexts, in situations where your type of people are. The universe will meet you where you are. You're always attracting people, opportunities, things, but you also need to go out there to meet them. Go out and then the universe will meet you where you are. And the third reason, the third win of going alone is that you're just gonna have a nice time with yourself. It's not the goal to make friends when you go somewhere alone. That's not the objective. You're going to enjoy yourself. You're going to enjoy the passage of time in your life. That's it. And that's also going to cultivate a very loving, happy relationship with yourself because you'll start enjoying time by yourself. And again, that's so attractive. You're going to be so magnetic when you're just out doing whatever you want and you're enjoying yourself. I promise you, people are just gonna flock towards you. And it's not even just gonna be in the physical space, it's also gonna be online. People will start messaging you, reaching out, maybe somebody you haven't heard from for months, maybe somebody who didn't respond to your messages and you were just hoping they were gonna respond, but now you're out and about, doing whatever you want to do in your cute pottery class, having the time of your life, like in the flow. You don't care about that anymore, like you forgot. I promise you, that's what they're gonna message. It happens every single time. You just become magnetic, you become attractive towards the people in your physical vicinity, but also just in the ether, like online. People are gonna start reaching out to you. But that's not the objective, that's just a byproduct. The goal is just to have a nice time. The goal is just to enjoy the life that you're given. And I always say, the only two things that are absolutely certain in life is that you were born, you're gonna die. And that finite aspect gives life so much meaning and purpose in my mind. Because how am I gonna waste it? How am I gonna waste it? Like the number of years I have here, like it's so certain. I cannot control whether I die or not and when. I can only control what I do before that. How am I gonna spend my time? So please enjoy yourself. It might be uncomfortable at first. I know that there might be some anxiety coming up or like self-consciousness, but you can do it. It's gonna become like the norm for you. You know those people that you spot at a concert and they're dancing in the crowd and it's like nothing else exists in the world for them? They're just having the best time of their life. That's who I want to be friends with. That's who I want to be. That's who I am. When you finish watching this video, even right now, you can pause it and write down a list of things that you really want to try. What do you want to try? Do you want to try a cooking course? Do you want to try a singing class? I've gone to singing classes. Guys, I've taken twerk classes. Like I took a twerking course just for the sake of it, just to go and have fun. There's so much joy in learning new things and trying new things. You don't have to be good at it. You don't have to become excellent at it or become an expert. Just gotta have fun. Just enjoy yourself. So yeah, make a list of what you want to try out and choose one that you can go out and do this week. Choose one from that list and do it. Like take action after this video. Don't just listen. Don't just like agree with things or like note things down. Take action afterwards, and that's when you're gonna see your life changing and you start becoming this amazing magnet for people who are right for you. The next important piece of advice, and perhaps the most important piece of advice in this video, is to be open and be light. It's an energetic state. I could probably make a whole course just on that with like a list of practices to get there, but it's really just the energy that you carry and that you put out in the world. Being light, being open. Even if you change your beliefs, even if you go out to a concert or a bar, if you're still closed off, if you have the sour look on your face, if you cannot hold up a conversation, it doesn't matter. Like, nobody's gonna approach you, or even if you approach people and you start talking to them, it's probably not gonna go anywhere if you're not open, if you are not fun and easy to be around. And the question I like to ask here, I like to ask myself at various periods of my life, do I enjoy my own company? Am I easy to be with? For myself, like, would I go on a date with myself the way I'm acting right now? And that's a good indicator. Like, would you like to approach someone if they have a very sour look on their face and they don't look you in the eye and they don't smile? Probably not. Would you like to meet with someone again if all they did during the conversation was just complain and not say one appreciative word through the conversation? Probably not. You have better things to do with your time. Why would you hang out with someone who doesn't give you good energy back? Especially in the beginning. Like, if you're already friends with someone, if you have a close relationship with someone, of course, we go through different periods in our lives. We cannot always be happy and light. And that's what friends are for too, to just, it's so nice to be with people with whom you can just be in any state and it doesn't require any energy. You can just sit in silence together. But to get to that space, you first need to make a connection. Be light, be appreciative. A couple tips here that will go a very long way for you. Number one, to ask questions back. That's called active listening, or that's a part of active listening. Google active listening. If you haven't heard about it before, if you don't apply it yet, active listening is amazing because it's an amazing communication technique so that you're both understanding each other, and it's a good experience for both people. And a part of it is asking questions back. It is so damn boring when you're talking with someone and they just never reciprocate. So reciprocate, and also hold pauses. If there is a pause in a conversation, don't try to jump in and like keep asking like, oh, where are you from? And what do you like to do? And what about this? And have you read this? Like, let people breathe. Give space, like create space for somebody to ask you something too, because that will be an exchange. Sometimes it is really nice to just listen more, like sit back and listen more and understand the person better and just ask them questions. I really enjoy that. I enjoy learning through the conversations I have with people, even if I never see them again. But if you're trying to like build a connection at some point, it's great to create some space for them to reciprocate. Just create pauses. Let them ask you things too. Let them take initiative too. It's like a dance. Another important piece of advice is to voice appreciation. I do it naturally by this point. Like both of these things, I don't consciously think about it. But whenever I notice something that I really appreciate in a person, I always voice it. And I really enjoy it when people do that to me too. So for instance, if I'm talking to someone and they show active listening, I'm gonna actually say out loud, wow, you're such a good listener. I really appreciate that. First of all, it's gonna make people feel good. And secondly, that creates a thing called positive identification. When you bring up an amazing quality in another person, they will associate themselves with that. They will identify with that quality and they will show that quality more when they are around you. That comes from psychology. If you tell your roommate, oh, I love it when you wash the dishes, like you're so amazing for that, thank you so much, your roommate is gonna be like, I'm an amazing person who washes dishes. That just feels so good. So they will be more likely to repeat that behavior versus if you can tell I lived with roommates. I lived in dorms when I was at university. That's a great school of life, by the way, and school in communication. If you tell your roommate, you're so sloppy, I hate that you haven't tidied up yet. I hate that there are dishes in the sink. You never wash the dishes. They will identify with this person that is sloppy, doesn't wash the dishes, never washes the dishes. Don't expect anything from them. Like if they actually do something, that's going to be a big surprise. Give people compliments genuinely. If someone's a good listener, you're such a great listener. I really appreciate it. You ask such great questions. Wow, you're so attentive. Like that's amazing. I really, really appreciate that. Genuinely, don't fake it. Don't say something you don't believe in. ick. Say it honestly. It always takes two people to create a dynamic. If you practice active listening, if you create positive identification, you will take this dynamic on a next level. It's gonna go such a long way, I promise you. And another aspect of being open and being light is you taking care of your energy and cultivating a joyful state of mind. There are so many practices for that. And again, don't do it with the objective of making people like you or attracting people. That's just a byproduct. Outside of your control, it will take care of itself on its own. Do it because it feels good to feel joy. Take care of your energy, take care of your state. You can do gratitude journaling every morning, 3 things you're grateful for. And don't do it in a lazy way, like I'm grateful for coffee and I'm grateful for books, but actually tune into gratitude, like feel it. It's just so warm. When you feel gratitude, it's like this warm sensation that goes through your chest and covers your whole body, and then you're just like in this bubble of warmth, and it feels like soft light, like soft sunshine on you. Why not get into that state more often? It just feels so good. So practice gratitude. Start meditating or meditate regularly if you don't already. Try EFT tapping. Google EFT. There are so many different practices to get into that joyful state of mind regularly, and when you start, you kind of create this momentum with these practices. I journaled on gratitude every single morning for most of my life since I was 12. In the last couple of years, I don't do that anymore. Like, I will do it sometimes. I actually kind of want to get back to it because it's just a very sweet practice, but now I do different journaling prompts and I will switch it up. Because gratitude is, I feel like it's been ingrained in me on some like molecular level. Anywhere I am, I always notice things to appreciate. Any person I talk to, no matter how obnoxious they might be, I will still find something to appreciate and I'm gonna have a positive interaction, likely. Any place I'm in, literally anywhere I am, I naturally gravitate towards finding something to appreciate. Part of it is my personality, but a big part of it is practice. Practicing that state of mind, practicing gratitude. It may not be easy in the beginning. All of these things I'm sharing, they can be easy, but they can also be challenging. And congratulations. Congratulations, you found something challenging. How freaking accomplished you're gonna feel when you have mastered it. I genuinely love being really bad at things first. I was not always a confident person. I was not always a secure person. I was not always socially comfortable, but I've mastered it to a certain level up until this point in my life. And that's why I feel so satisfying and I feel accomplished in that. If I'd always been that way, I wouldn't experience this joy and happiness that my journey gifted me. So, if there's something you suck at, if talking to new people is challenging for you, if going to places alone is challenging for you, congratulations, you struck gold. It's like a mine of positive emotions. It's like a mine of joy that you're gonna dig out of it if you stick to it. Like, if you master it, there's gonna be so much satisfaction. Like, do things you're bad at. And then gradually you're gonna go through your hero's journey. You're gonna get really good. And it's gonna feel amazing. So yeah, take care of your energy, take care of your state, cultivate that joy within you because it feels good and because as a byproduct, again, people are just gonna start flocking towards you because we all wanna be around people who are like sunshines, people who have so much energy and they're generous with it, people who have this gravitational pull that when you come to their vicinity, your day just gets better. I'm sure you know a person like that in your life. There are like planets, like suns. They have such a big gravitas around them and it's so positive that when you talk to them, like everything just gets better, your day gets better. We want to be around people like that. And you can become a person like that through implementing these things I'm talking about and through practice. The next tip might make you feel uncomfortable, but stick with me, just listen. Hear me out. Post on social media. Doesn't have to be professional. It's not about like becoming an influencer or a blogger. Just post on social media because social media amplifies your presence in the world. I'm gonna repeat that once again. Social media amplifies your presence in the world. If I speak to a friend of mine the same things I'm sharing with you. If I tell my friend, hey, this is how you can make friends in a new city, like try these things out, that really helped me. I'm gonna talk with her for like an hour. It's gonna help her. If I make a video on it, this has potential to reach thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people. Social media amplifies your voice, your energy, your presence in the world. Use it. It is free. It's literally like creating an ad for your personality authentically. Please don't lie. Like, we're not into that. Like, don't make things seem the way they're not. Don't try to pretend to be someone you're not. Like, you're gonna attract a different group of people. When you're authentic, when you do things genuinely, share things you're genuinely interested in, you're gonna attract people who vibe with that. You wanna attract people you vibe with. Probably half of the most valuable connections I've made in my life in the last 5 years were due to YouTube and Instagram. Let that sink in. How incredible is that? You don't have to start a YouTube channel. You don't have to post every day on Instagram. But let's say you read a book. You can be alone in your room. You just finished reading. You put the book down. But when you post a story or make a post on Instagram, even if it's just your friends and acquaintances and family members who already follow you, you're alone in your room. But when you post a review of that book, you're gonna reach 20, 50, 100 people. Isn't that incredible? Like, the amount of reach you can have. Like, think about it. You're alone in your room, you just finished reading, but you can share your thoughts on that book with 100 people. You know, you don't need a media company, you don't need a newspaper, you don't need to be a radio host, you don't need to be a TV presenter like you had to be 100 years ago. You don't need to be like a published author. You don't need to wait for months, for years for that information to reach other people. You can literally do that in an instant. And maybe that acquaintance, maybe that girl you met at Tantra, or like maybe that person you met at a bar or at a concert, you know, that's how you usually stay in touch, right? You just follow each other on Instagram to keep that contact. When you post stuff that you like, this is the book I just read, I thought this was really cool. Maybe that acquaintance that you met a couple weeks ago, maybe they read it too, and they're gonna share. Like, create space, create opportunities for people to make connections with you. Make yourself available for a connection. If you post a review of a book you read, maybe 3 people read it too, and they're gonna share, and you're gonna start talking to them, and maybe it's gonna lead somewhere else. Or let's say you like K-drama, post about it, please. Like, let the world know what you like, where your interests lie, what kind of person you are. To exist amongst people is to be perceived. Create opportunities for people to get to know you, the real you. It's like if you could put banners of who you are around the city, that's social media. You're literally advertising who you are for free. Like, that's free real estate. Take it, use it. It costs nothing to post on your stories. So do that, or any other platform of your choice. Just do it in a way that's fun. Don't do it as an obligation. Just do it because that's a wonderful way to connect with people. I am so tired and I'm so bored of this whole social media is so bad for you narrative. Like, surprise me, please. Like, we know it. I've watched The Social Dilemma. I've listened to so many opinions, watched videos, read books. Like, I get it. Is there a solution? Like, can we propose a new perspective, please? Like, something that's empowering or something that's helpful? I swear, I cannot complain about social media as much anymore because I've realized how much it's given me. I used to focus so much on what it took away, like my time, or doom scrolling, how much negativity came into my life because of the addictive algorithms that just keep you stuck on the apps. However, social media has also given me so much. It's given me a career, it's given me job opportunities, like in marketing. When people see what kind of work I do, how I curate my feed, they believe that I can do that for their company as well. It's given me friends, like real, genuine friendships with people who have been in my life for multiple years, who've seen me at my highs, at my lows, and I just love these people so much. And I cannot believe that I would have never met them if I didn't make myself seen online. So please use it. Use it. Advertise your personality. natively, like don't actually make an ad, obviously. Post what you see, what you enjoy, what you like, and engage with the people who respond to you. And additionally to that, engage with other people who are posting online with whom you vibe. I travel a lot, and sometimes when I arrive in a new city and I post about that, I'll get a message. Like for instance, when I'm in Paris, someone's gonna message me, "Hey Denora, I followed you for like 3 years. I would love to get coffee with you." If I already have a history with that person, like in my DMs, if I see that they responded when I posted this book review, for some reason I'm really hell-bent on talking about book reviews in this video. When I see that they responded to this, to this, to that, maybe I responded to them and we chatted already like 2 years ago, I'm so much more likely to say, yes, I'd love to meet, let's get coffee. But when it's a private account with no picture, I have no history of talking to you, it's gonna be a no. Like, I'm not gonna see you. Same thing with me. If I really want to make a connection with someone who inspires me online, they can click on my profile, they can see that I'm a real human being, that these are the things I care about. It's amazing. It's like a business card, but like an interactive business card, and not for business, but for connections with people. I know that some people also use, well, not some, probably many people also use Instagram as like a dating app. I don't. I never have. This is not really about that. It's more about friends. But you can use it in any way you want, as long as you use it because it's such a big resource. It's just an opportunity to make yourself seen and heard in the world, and to make your presence bigger, make your authentic presence bigger, because we need it. We need more of you in the world. We need more of the real you. Please share it. Or don't. Whatever you choose, this opportunity is here for you. I just realized that I forgot to turn on my microphone once again. Sorry guys, this takes getting used to. But yay, it's on for the grand finale of this video. My final tip, my favorite tip, this is something I've created and I've been using for the last few years to meet wonderful people, to make great friends online and then meet in person. You probably have already guessed it. It's Dees Castle. Dees Castle, oh my gosh, the way it's changed my life, I'm not gonna get emotional about it. I created Dees Castle in the end of 2021 when the pandemic was still affecting all of us a lot, and that was a way to have a community to connect with people, and it's just blossomed. I've met amazing people and friends in Dees Castle because they were just attracted to, again, what I'm posting online, so that it makes sense that the people who are watching this video, they're probably, like, we're on the same page. We're an energetic match. I lead a Zoom call every single weekend, and they're theme-based. So all of these things that you're probably also interested in because you're watching this video, from self-growth to mental health to relationships, implementing better habits in your life, manifesting professional opportunities for yourself, to making friends. All of these themes we cover in Dees Castle in the Zoom calls that I host every single weekend. And on top of that, we have journaling practices, we have guided meditations, we have a book club now, which has been so much fun. I hosted a retreat in Berlin in March. I'm gonna link the video somewhere here. You can watch it to get the vibe when we meet in person. Like, even though these interactions are online on Zoom, they're so deep and vulnerable, so that when we meet in person, it's like we really know each other, and I love it. I don't know a better way to make friends in this day and age than to try Dees Castle and really engage in Dees Castle. Use the chat, talk to people, watch the recordings, attend the calls, because it's literally the most supportive environment I've ever been in, and I created it, so it makes sense that it's really supportive, really respectful, really loving space. So yeah, Dees Castle is legendary for creating beautiful connections and friendships. If you're interested in joining Dees Castle, it's a monthly subscription. You can join for 1 month, but I highly recommend to stay for a few, because when you have more interactions over a longer period of time, you're more likely to open up more and feel even more comfortable. The more you talk to people, the more makes sense, the closer you get. So I would really recommend to stay for at least 3 to 6 months. There's no opening right now for Dees Castle, But I have created a waitlist. I've linked it down below if you want to be notified when Dees Castle opens up again for new members. If you enjoyed this video, if you get my vibe, then I'm sure you're gonna have an amazing time in Dees Castle, and I hope I will see you there. Okay guys, that's all for today's video. I know it was really long, but I just wanted to give the most value. I know how much I needed this type of video a few years ago, and I hope this was very helpful. If it was, please leave a comment. Please share it with a friend who needs to hear these tips too. And when you apply these tips, like when you take that action, remember making that list of things you want to try out. When you do try it out, when you take action, please send me an update. I would love to hear it. I would absolutely love to hear your updates. Please send me an update on Instagram. I would love to receive it. It always makes my day when you guys let me know that something I said was really helpful to you. That's a positive, energetic exchange. That's how I also know that these videos need to exist in the world and you appreciate them. Create positive identification with me. Oh my gosh, if you want more YouTube videos and on the topics that you're interested in, create positive identification, leave a comment or send me a message, and I will see you very soon. Mwah. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful, grateful time wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing. Mwah. Ciao. Oh, and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe.